Greetings, YouTube. I'm not sure, but I believe I've made references to the organization Focus on Families in the past. This is a fundamentalist Christian group that has somewhat extreme views on what should be taught in our students' schools and what kinds of messages should be conveyed in American society. And apparently they're upset because they're seeing anti-bullying initiatives being used in schooling as a means of activists putting LGBT positive messages in our school systems. LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. The article I am referencing, one second, I have to get a pop-up out of my way. They are concerned that the public schools increasingly convey that homosexuality is normal and should be accepted, Cushman said, while opposing viewpoints by conservative Christians are portrayed as bigotry. Now, I have a message for anyone watching this video. Homosexuality is normal. A certain percentage of many animal species engage in same-sex couplings. Since we are animals, it's perfectly normal that a certain segment of the human species engages in such couplings. In addition, there is the more complex emotional connection between people. You don't choose who you love. And if you oppose the concept that a person should be treated fairly and equally and accepted for their sex, gender identity, or sexual expressions, regardless of what your political or religious affiliation is, then you are, in fact, committing an act of bigotry. Now, if you personally don't think that a particular activity, legal activity I should point out, is appropriate, don't engage in it. It really is that simple. However, telling other people that they should not engage in it could be construed in a negative light, particularly if, at least in America, we have the freedom to associate and the freedom to engage in that activity legally whenever consenting adults choose to. Now, this is one of those groups that has a name that sounds benign, focus on the family. And yet it has a message which is somewhat controversial quite frequently and isn't quite as benign as their name would make one believe. And I've always found that that kind of duplicity always bothers me. I always prefer when people come out and say what they want to say. Then they don't hide behind euphemisms, behind carefully crafted marketing, so that you are led to believe that a situation is one thing when it is in fact another. I used to be very active in the Society for Creative Anachronism. The title said it all, folks. Society for Creative Anachronism. I, at one time, was a member of the Boy Scouts of America. Boy Scouts of America. Direct, to the point. There was no duplicity involved. But when you get involved with politics and religion, things get a lot muddier. And as someone on one of the message boards I frequent, I believe it might have been FARC, in fact. I love FARC. A high noise to signal ratio, I admit, but often very entertaining. As they comment, focus on your own blankety-blank family. If you don't think that your children should be engaged in same-sex couplings or in a gay relationship, that's what you can teach them. I pray that your child is not actually gay in that case, because they're going to have a really hard time adjusting to the life after they are no longer under your control. But telling other people that they should not think of their children in a positive light because they're gay, or should not accept everyone in their community because they are not necessarily straight or gender identifying themselves in a way that you like. That's a lot less of an open position to take. So, whenever you hear about an organization with a name that sounds innocuous, ask yourself, are they trying to hide behind those words? What is the message that they are really bringing, as opposed to the name of the organization that they say they represent? And, as that FARC poster so eloquently put, focus on your own darn family.